Good morning. It's Thursday morning, August 20th. And I don't know, this morning I don't know, it seemed to be a hectic morning just to get here on time. But here I am, and it's 9:30, and I was committed to being here at 9:30. So standing in my integrity on that one. Anyway, welcome. If you're joining me today, I don't know that today will be a long conversation, but hopefully it'll be a meaningful conversation. And when I was up at 6, and even though it took me so long to get myself prepared, apparently, I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today. And what I came up with was owning your personal power. And it's a conversation or a topic right now that is close to my heart because I've just moved myself through a big personal transition in my life. And a big part of getting myself to that place was taking back my own personal power and owning where I am in my life. And of course, intellectually, you always know that, or I hope we know that. But we can slip and slide and sort of lose ourselves over the course of life happening. And I found myself in that place, and I found myself as feeling diminished in my own power. So today I just wanted to really focus on or think about and reflect on, what does that really mean, owning my personal power. And what I came up with this morning was a couple of things. One of them was the ability to say no. And many women that I work with struggle with the ability to say no, and especially from a leadership perspective, where we're in an environment and we are constantly being handed more and more to do. Many women have lots of responsibilities outside of the work environment, and it can feel overwhelming. And yet we choose not to say no at times. And when I dig with my clients underneath, what is that about? It is so often about wanting to please other people, wanting to not ruffle others' feathers, not wanting to be seen as not being helpful. And of course, we always want to help other people and serve. But when we are in a place where we can't say no, when it's not serving us to not say no, that's a problem. And so owning my power is having the ability to say no, which may mean turning down something, which may mean disappointing someone else. And that's okay if my intent is with love and caring, but also having that love and care for myself. So owning my power, it means I have the ability to say no when it's in my best interest, especially from a mental health perspective. And then there is the other piece, which is the ability to say yes. So it's like, what? But oftentimes we don't say yes because we are standing in fear instead of owning our power. So in the work world, oftentimes we would like opportunities. We'd like to step into those opportunities. We believe underneath it all that we're capable, but we don't say yes. And so underneath, we may believe it, but somewhere there's a barrier that's saying, well, not really, or what if I'm not good enough, or what if I make a mistake, or a big one is, I don't think I know enough, and I've never done that before. So we don't say yes. But standing in our or owning our power, our own personal power, would be saying yes and then figuring it out, because we know that we're capable of figuring it out. And if I look at my history, and I always say this, everything I've done, I've always been fearful of. I've done lots of things. I had no idea what I was doing, but I figured it out. So the ability to say yes is empowering to myself. Even if I may not know how, I'm going to say yes because I'll figure it out. So owning my power is the ability to say no, but it's also the ability to say yes. And it's figuring that out. What's in your best interest, and what's holding you back. What's holding you back when you can't say no? And what's holding you back when you don't say yes? So I'll leave that one with you. And another one I wrote down this morning was taking risks. So standing and owning my power, standing in my power, is taking risks. So recently, if you've been connecting with me at all, I've been talking a lot about being in the stands versus being on the court. And so taking risks means stepping into the court, onto the court, trying new things. From a leadership perspective, it means showing up in a way that is not necessarily comfortable. So if you don't normally speak at the leadership table, and owning your power and having more influence would mean that you would have to use your voice, then that would be taking a risk, because it's uncomfortable. It's not something you normally do. And with that, different behavior comes, most times, fear. So that would be an example of owning my power. So I have a voice. I want to use my voice. I don't normally put it out on the table, and I'm going to start doing that. And so I practice, saying what I want to say. And at first it feels really uncomfortable. It feels really scary, and it feels like I'm taking a risk, and it feels vulnerable. And but it's only through doing that it starts to be comfortable. So it is practice. And it's also recognizing that the discomfort is normal when we step into anything that feels risky. So taking risks is owning my power. Alrighty, commitment. Okay, so I was thinking this morning about commitment and being integral to myself. So the other day I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about integrity, and they were saying, how they felt about that. And I've been thinking a lot about, integrity, standing in my integrity, owning it, and being committed to that. And that means when I say I'm going to do something, that I actually do that. And that's a modeling from a leadership perspective. But, standing in my own integrity means not just what I say, not just what I do, but what I think. And so if I'm saying one thing to you, but my thoughts are totally the opposite, and I'm being judgy and I'm doing all those things that are negative, but I'm not speaking to you and having a conversation with you about what's real. So, I'm saying what you want to hear, but I'm not saying what's true to me in my thinking, then I'm not being standing in integrity. I'm certainly not being integral to myself, and I'm not being honest to whoever I'm dealing with. So oftentimes we say, having integrity means saying and doing that those are aligned. I think also it means your thoughts as well. So what I say, what I do, and what I think have to be aligned. And oftentimes if I really am honest with myself, when I look at the past, what I think is not what I say, because I know the game, and I've been in certain environments. And often if I actually said what I thought, that would be taking a risk. And that would be being on the court versus being in the stands, and it feels risky. So doing a lot of that right now, as far as owning my power and taking back my personal power in my life, has been to align what I am saying and what I am thinking. So saying, thinking, and doing is being integral to myself, and that is owning the power in my life. And oftentimes knowing that what I may say other people may not agree with, that can feel risky. But to get to a place in my life where it's okay. When I was younger, if you didn't agree with me, then that meant I had to be wrong. And so I would push my views and my thoughts onto other people because I needed them to agree with me so that I could be right. And today I'm a long way away from that, which is a good thing. But, even still, as far as owning your own power, it means to be able to say what you think, and not, and like, be okay that the other side or the other party doesn't agree with you, and be okay with that, because I'm okay with my own opinions, my own views. And nobody, you don't have to agree with me, and vice versa. I can have a different view. I remember one time having a conversation with one of my direct reports, and she was getting really pissed at me because I would not agree with her. And it wasn't that we were arguing really, but I could see her frustration because she wanted me to take the same view. And I remember saying to her, I hear what you're saying and I understand what you're saying, and I have a different opinion. And it doesn't mean either one of us is right or wrong. And I'm not sure that she left with that being okay. But to me, that is about, owning what is true to me, and not, at the expense of harming or hurting or not caring about the other person, because that's certainly not what I'm saying. But, sharing with them my own views and opinions is being true to myself, and having a conversation where we might not be aligned, we might not agree, is also what leadership is all about. It is about being in the discomfort of what is true for us, and sometimes what is true for the organization, but doesn't necessarily land with everybody on a individual basis. So what I had written down about that this morning was to speak your truth without expectation of agreement. So it's like, this is mine, this is yours. Let's everybody put on the table where we're at, and from there we probably will build a solution or come to a conclusion that serves the overall versus just me or you. And really coming from the mindset of no win-lose, to me is being integral to myself as well, and to the process, whatever that process is that we're in. But also I was thinking this morning about what I have power over and what I don't. And I always or often say the only two things I have power over are my thoughts and my behaviors. And to a large degree, I really believe that. And my thoughts will change, hopefully, as we grow through life. But how I behave, I have power over. And I have power over my thinking. I can change my thinking. I can stand in victimization. I can stand in owning my life. I can, live in a place where, everything is black and white or right or wrong. And that's a very narrow place to live, but I can change that. So that's empowering, to recognize I don't have to stay where I am in my thoughts, and certainly how I react and how I respond and how I interact with other people. I have power over that. And the more I have grown as an individual and as a leader, the less I feel that that I need to be in total alignment with everybody else. That I need to fit in. Like, I love Brene Brown. She talks about standing in the wilderness. Fitting in is not where I want to be today by any means. I want to be who I am. I want to be free to say what I think. I want to be okay with my imperfections. And part of being in integrity is to recognize, where we mess up, and then owning it and cleaning it up. And that also is standing in, my personal power. It's okay to mess up, but we need to clean up. And that's a big difference from where I was years ago. So what else did I want to say? I wanted to, when I was saying about what I have power over. And so when I look at people, places, and things, I recognize that I have no power over that. So I can't change other people's behaviors. I can't change how they think. I can influence people through how I show up and how I model my humanity. But I can't make people, change how they be or how they think or how they show up. But certainly I can support them in shifting should they so choose. But, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort to constantly try to control the world. And there is great freedom in recognizing I have very little control over things external to myself. And so that's a piece that's really shifted for me over the course of, I'd say, the last 20 years. And there is real freedom in that. And oftentimes it's really interesting because I've been really noticing where I'm being judgmental these days. And I was listening to a woman the other day, and she was being very judgmental about something. And I was being very judgmental about her being judgmental, which was quite humorous when I think about it. But really noticing that, and that would be, me trying to manipulate or move people to think a different way, to behave a different way. And I have no power over that. But it's really interesting. I've really been trying to pay attention to being judgmental, because that really shuts the door on what's possible. So the minute I move into being judgmental about a person, place, or thing, I'm not open to any possibility around any of those. And I'm trying to be open to possibility and look at things through that lens versus my own narrow lens, which can be very judgmental when I come from just what I know, because I look at things from my own perspective, as we all do. And hopefully the whole purpose of the work I do is to help people shift their perspective and see things through a different light. So on that note, I was just thinking about a story in relation to my father, who has moved on. But I remember being 16, and I had been at some kind of party at somebody's house, and the police came, and I remember being scared, like that my parents were going to find out that I'd been there. And so I went home and I told my parents that I'd been there, and I told them that the police had showed up, and it's like CYA. But really, it was fearful of not being, I was fearful of them finding out through another mechanism. And I remember my dad saying to me, and my dad was, usually pretty calm, and he just said to me, Heather, if you're there, then you're involved. If you don't want to be involved, don't be there. So that was a lesson that I really, took with me. It's like, if you don't want to be included in what's not working for you, then you need to remove yourself, which often feels like not fitting in. But in essence, it's looking after what's in your best interest and standing in what you know is right for you. And that's where I feel like, I'm either, accountable to myself, or I'm trying to fit in, which is people pleasing and be part of the crowd. And I get that when you're 16. I get that when you're 25. I get that when you're 35. But there is power in doing what you feel is right, based on what is important for your life. And to me, that is owning your power. And it's really interesting because I find a lot of women I work with are really uncomfortable with the use of the term power, because it's quite often connected to the male energy in a room. And I don't mean it in that regard. Not that I think that that's negative, but I mean, it's about owning who I am and standing in that and being true to that. That is standing in my power, in my definition of it. And yours can be totally different, should you so choose. But anyway, on that note, I'm going to move on for today. And what I really wanted to leave you with was to just really notice when you find yourself making choices that don't feel, that don't align with what you really want and who you want to really be. So if you, want to be love, compassion, caring, light, energy, and you're showing up really judgmental and not doing what you say you're going to do, being critical externally with your voice to other people, then you're not aligned with what, is who you truly want to be. And standing and owning my power is being true to me. So my thought is just to think about that and notice when it comes up for you that there's a rub for you, because you're doing, saying, being whatever that is not aligned with what is really important for you, and see what happens. And if you really want to shift into your own power, It's about noticing that and starting to practice showing up differently. And with that, I'm going to sign off and hope that you have a really good weekend, because we're heading into the weekend. Don't know where you are, but here it's raining today on the West Coast where I live. So hopefully we get some sunshine, because it's still August. Anyway, take really good care. Talk to you soon. Have a great day.